All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. My name is Patrick Kaiser. I'm the Executive Director of Heart on Main Street. I am your host for our Main Street Matters webinar. Heart on Main Street is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping independent retailers evolve their business and thrive within their local communities. We are a new nonprofit. We just really started at the beginning of 2023, and today is exceptionally exciting because it is our very first Main Street Matters webinar. So if you are just discovering Heart on Main Street, or if you are just discovering our webinar series, congratulations, you found us at just the right time. If you have any friends that are also retailers that could benefit from the services provided by Heart on Main Street or from our Main Street Matters webinar education series, please let them know. Today, we are going to be hosting a conversation around annual planning within a retail store. So joining us today is Beth Rich, owner of Mix It Up Home in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Welcome, Beth. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And Mary Liz Curtin, owner of Leon and Lulu in Clawson, Michigan. Welcome, Mary Liz.
Happy to be here, Patrick.
So without further ado, again, welcome Beth and Mary Liz. Thank you all so much for being here today. We are going to be talking about annual planning within your retail store. And when we were talking about topics, this was really one that you all both said, we need to be talking about this right away. We need to talk about early in the year. We really need to focus on planning out. So I want to really kind of start off, why is it so important to establish your plan for your year within the store so early on in the year? And when are you all really starting your planning process?
Mary Liz?
Well, I think starting the year without a plan is kind of like getting in the car without turning on your GPS or opening a map. Mm-hmm. And we start planning our year in December of last year. When we start to look at Christmas and how did it sell through and how do we want to handle it. So we need to begin, that's for our open to buy planning, which is a whole different, we're talking more about events today, but we start planning our open to buy in December for the following year so that we get the right things for the following fourth quarter, which is 13 months ahead of when we're going to start selling it. But events are so important to our store. We do a lot of events. I've lost track this year. The count's all off since the pandemic. But it's really important as you're planning your events to have an idea of where you're going to go. So we know our core basic events. We know we'll have a sale that starts the day after Christmas. We know we'll have a big sale around 4th of July, because every year we do those two things. We know that 4 times a year we'll have an artist market where we show the work of local artists as well as all of our product in the store. It's chaotic, it's fabulous. We did it 2 days ago, it was a blast. So we put that on the planning list because every event, well, anyway, we put all the things, the markdown events, the sale events, local events like the 4th of July parade, things that we do over and over again, like our fashion show or our artist market or our book show that are annual or semi-annual events. Because as you're planning it, you also need to plan for the planning. So if the event is March 19th, when do the emails go out to the consumers? Right. When do the emails go out to the vendors who might want to be part of it? All that goes in the planner, so that you're not standing there 2 days before it's going to happen and go, oh my God, we forgot to mention it. Holy smokes, Facebook, fast. Because we've done this, in case you didn't get that. Yeah. And we have 2 businesses. We have a restaurant as well as the store. They do have their own event program. So they're also planning for their wine tastings and their cocktail classes and their special dinner events. And we try to be, because we're one big business, we try to make sure that the 2 halves of the business dovetail. So that's how we start the year planning for the next year. And frankly, I'm already planning for, this is 23 for 24. I've started to write down the trade shows in 24 that I'm going to be attending and the things I'll be doing in January, February, and March of next year. I just wish I could find a darn calendar to start
it. get a new 2024 calendar.
Yeah.
Beth, are similar process, or how do you go about your planning?
Interestingly enough, Mary Liz, is one of the reasons why I love you is I have the GPS analogy down myself. You get in your car and you part of it is, where am I going? Where do I want to be at the end of the year? How was last year? Was it did we have a great year? Would I be happy if my sales were the same as last year? Do I want it to be better? Did we struggle last year? And so part of it for me is where do I want to go? And so that's me putting the address in my GPS and kind of using my GPS to tell me how we're going to get there. Analytics are huge for me. And like Mary Liz says, when you're talking about buying and retail flows and open to buys and all that, that's a whole nother webinar. But being able to look at a report for me to look and say, what sold last year? What was successful for us? Did we bring something in for an event specifically and it sold really well? Is that something that we want to add on? So events are huge for us. We hosted over 70 events in our store last year, and you can't do that unless you're organized and unless you have a really good calendar. One of the things that we've tried to do really well is to make the event as beneficial for everybody in our community. And so one of the things that we do is we have started to partner with real estate agents, title companies, people in the community as hospitality hosts. And we go to them and give them an opportunity to interact with our customers. They pay for the wine, they pay for the champagne, and it's a great way to partner. But you can't, as Mary Liz alluded to, you can't call them 2 days before the event and say, hey, we have an event on Friday. We tell them now that, and quite honestly, if you do it right, you end up with a wait list. We are booking into 2024 because people want to partner with us. They want to be involved in an event in our store. And we're already booked for this year. So we already know who's playing music in September and who's bringing wine in November, because that's already been scheduled. And that makes the whole thing so much easier.
And so, I mean, it sounds events are such a huge part of the planning process. You all have so many different lines, 70 different events that you're having throughout the year. A lot of times we think of events as these big, elaborate things that are put on in the store, and they often are. But what are some of the events that you all are doing that can have some of the elaborate ones, but also some other things in between?
Well, we do lots of easy ones, a shopping night for a PTA, some kind of a charity group who comes in with wine and cheese. Those are easy. That's just, you find the date, you slap it in there, give them a head count, because you don't want to do an event for somebody who's only dragged 3 people in, because that's just depressing for everybody. So we have established parameters for anyone who wants to have an event in the store. Those are very, very simple. It's just a matter, as Beth said, of booking them. But the bigger ones that require real planning is something you need to have a program for. And I think the single biggest bit of event advice I would give you is, you don't have to keep having different events. You want to keep having the good events over and over and over and making them better and better and better. And your customers will come back. Once is a trial, second is practice, the third one, it's a tradition. You're ready to run with that thing. And then all of a sudden you've got something that goes in your book quarterly or annually or monthly, and you just keep making that better and tweaking it a little bit. And the customer doesn't know that you're not reinventing it. She doesn't care. She just wants to have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we do the same thing. We do big events. We're fortunate. I live in a resort town in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and we have a very, very active and vibrant Chamber of Commerce. I would recommend everybody find out what your Chamber of Commerce is doing, what events they're doing. We have a downtown association, and my business is in downtown. And so in January, they hosted a mac and cheese festival and sold 2,000 tickets to a mac and cheese festival. So, we just partnered with a restaurant and put mac and cheese in the back of the store. And, of course, I'm gonna make you come all the way to the back of my store to get your mac and cheese. I'm not going to give it to you at the front door. But I agree with Mary Liz again. Some of the events that we do are, last year we did a first annual anniversary sale. The store's been there for 14 years. I bought it 4 years ago, but they'd never done an anniversary sale. And we looked at what we had left over from merchandise. We were a little heavy from 2021. And we said, let's do an anniversary sale. So we did bottomless mimosas, partnered with a coffee shop. And those are other ways that you can look at other businesses in town and see, how can I partner with the plant store, with the coffee shop, and how can we make it better for everybody in our community? But again, it does not have to be brain damage. And the more you figure out, the more events you do, the more you figure out what worked, what didn't work. Again, we're the same way. If we're going to close our doors for you at 6 o'clock at night and keep our staff until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, you have to bring a certain amount of people. And so we have that same requirement. But people love the opportunity to come in, and it's the exclusive, like we're going to be and mix it up after hours. We're going to have the whole store all to ourselves. And whether it's a book club or a Bible study, it's just a party. And so and quite honestly, the organizers of that book club or that Bible study are the people that really they're the ones that are doing the work. We just close the door, buy some plastic cups, and set up a table and take your money.
Yeah.
But it takes a while to get to the point where you think you just close the door and set up a table and buy some plastic cups, because you remember the time you forgot to buy the plastic cups, or the time that you thought you could set up the table on a cash wrap. One of my favorite things. Wine bar at the cash wrap. No, that is not a good plan at all, because all it takes is one spilled glass of wine into that keyboard, and anyway, not so good for the whole party.
Mary Liz has done these more years than I have. She's got some experience on me.
We've been doing this for over 16 years, and we've done events for 20 people, and we've done events for 400 or 500 because we're lucky to have such a big space. We also partner with our downtown and cooperate with that, but we find the things that are dedicated specifically to our customers and to segments of our customers to be the ones that play the best.
Mm-hmm.
We do a girls' night out every month. And it could be a packing demonstration. It could be how to clean your house. It could be, who knows what it could be. One year we didn't have an idea. And that's how the artist market got started. We said, well, what if we asked some artists to come in and show? We had so many people apply, we couldn't do it in one day. So we ended up doing a 2-day market. And then the market was doing so well, we had some authors who wanted to come. Well, the craft market then spawned the books and authors. You know, we'll have 25 to 50 local authors in the store for an afternoon. And then all of a sudden we started to hear from people who had small batch artisanal food, and that brought the Michigan Made, I've forgotten what we called it, Made to Eat in Michigan. But it was the same exact program, the same tables, the same tent cards, the same everything, just a different focus. So anytime you can find something that works and put a different dress on it, ship it out another door, it really makes your event program look robust and full, without having to reinvent the wheel every time.
I think that when you put one foot in front of the other, if you haven't done events and you're making the decision to start down that road, and you literally just start and hold the first event, and as Mary Liz said, and have a chance to look at it and say, you know, what worked, what didn't, what are we going to do the next time? And the more events you do, the farther down the road you get, the more experience you'll have.
And some of them are going to be busts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
if some of them aren't losers, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. If you're trying out new types of events, how do you determine what was successful, what maybe has potential? You know, I ran it this first time and maybe I see potential. How do you gauge the success of a new type of event?
Beth?
We have 2 metrics. One is always sales. You know, if we've closed the doors for the evening and I have my staff there for 3 hours, and, you know, we'll look at the sales for the end of the evening, and that's a determining factor to success. But a touch point and exposure to our customers and exposure to new customers is another metric for us. So when we participate in mac and cheese, when you have a beer in one hand and you've got a bowl of mac and cheese in the other hand, and most of those people aren't adding a bag on their arm from every shop that they go to. So, but our downtown association markets that to a broader spectrum of potential customers than we would normally have in our database. So we are in the store, and one of the questions we ask customers when they're waiting for their mac and cheese sample is, you know, have you been in the store before? And so a metric for us is if we have an opportunity to touch and introduce ourselves and our product line and our unique, you know, what we consider so unique to somebody who's never been in the store before, and make that touch point, that's success for us too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Beth is totally right about that. My first touch point is not the dollars we do, but how much fun the people had. Mm-hmm. If they leave here smiling, even if they didn't buy anything this time, if they had a great time, they will be back and they'll tell their friends they had a good time. Mm-hmm. So dollars are certainly important, but it's not the number one metric for us, except the things where we have outside vendors, because I have to be sure they're successful. So we need to build it and to accept only vendors who will be successful. We're a little fussy. Our jury is a little bit tight on the people we show in the books and the artist markets, because if they're not going to be successful, they just take up space and look sour. So we look for people who are going to sell some things. But our biggest thing is building that relationship with our customers. Mm-hmm. As you said, Beth, having them discover you for the first time. And more importantly, having them say, oh, I just love going there. I always have such a good time. Yeah. If they smile, their lips open, their handbags open, their wallets open, bam, the money comes out.
In order to ensure that these events are going well, and Mary Liz, you had made the point of you're not wanting to start promoting it 2 days before. When are you all starting to talk about the events that you host and your big community events and promote that so you do get the right eyes on it and you do get the success that you want out of the event?
Well, there's different kinds of promotions for an event. For the artist market, which is top of mind because we just had it, we promote it to our customers who are going to visit it about 2 weeks before and then about a week before. However, as soon as we confirm an event, it's supposed to go on our general calendar. So if you're looking for something to do 3 weeks from Saturday, you can look and see if Leon and Lulu has anything happening. But then we also have to promote it earlier and earlier to get the vendors in, to remind the artists that they need to apply so the jury can choose the people, and then to give the artists enough time to build the product that they're going to sell, because it's a completely consignment-based situation. They bring their products in, we ring it up, we wrap it, we do everything. We keep 60%, they get 40%. And they have to have time to build their inventory. So they need to know what's happening a good month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks ahead of the event. And that's all part of the planning schedule is when do we release it for new artists to come in? When do we tell the artists where they're supposed to park and what they're supposed to do and what the rules are? When do we tell the customers what's happening? And when do we get everything on the website so people can follow up on it? And that's part of the reason that we have these fancy calendars with, wait a second, one's not my calendar. Multiple colors.
There you go.
One for each company, lots of little notes. Julie knows where I am. She knows what's coming. This is Julie's calendar. This is my calendar. It's much more modest, but it has stickers sometimes and it lets you know where I'm going. Mm-hmm. But I find a paper calendar to be the best way to do it. I'm much more comfortable with paper, and most of my staff is. Although we, of course, maintain a Google Calendar for the digitally enabled.
Good. So projecting out all like when you're going to start emailing, when you're starting marketing, when you're starting to tell your vendors, when you're starting to tell your customers, all of that you're having on your calendar.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then if it's something with a vendor, if we wanted to do a pop-up event or we do trunk shows. So we meet them maybe at a trade show and start to talk about it. And that takes a while to find out when do we have a slot in our calendar for the trunk show and when can that person either send the stuff or hopefully attend the trunk show. So those things don't take as long to publicize for the customers, but they do take a while to build up the plan and to plug it into everybody's work days.
Yeah. I'm joining Mary Liz in that, I'm not opening a restaurant, but we are opening our second. We're opening our second location on April 14th. So we're getting into the world of having to schedule music and wine and sponsorship and everything for 2 different locations. And I have the most amazing store manager, and she has a color-coded Excel spreadsheet that is done for this year. And we are starting to vision into the beginning part of next year. Because I live in a relatively small town, and if you want live music and you want different live music for different events, we're contacting those people today so that we know who's playing for all the different events. It helps with scheduling, because we look at it and know how many people we need to bring on board, because now we have somebody who comes in at 10 o'clock in the morning and they're going to stay till 6, but somebody else has to be there till 9. So being able to have that plan out as far as you do gives you the opportunity to really schedule your staff. We send out an email at the beginning of every month that says exactly what's coming up for that month. We kid around with our customers and tell them that there's a really nice building on the corner of Sherman and 2nd that says the Chamber of Commerce on the outside of the building, but mix it up is really the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, we are the place where people say, well, what's happening next weekend? And so we're trying. We just hired a new marketing company, and so we're putting our calendar event for the year on our website so our customers can go there and look and find and click a link and register for an event or buy a ticket for a wine walk.
Wonderful. Beth, you had mentioned live music, and we had a question come in about live music, so we do want to address that. The question is, how do you handle the music aspect? I've seen other shops and cafes get fined for copyright issues, bands playing covers, etc. Is that something you've?
Fortunately, maybe I just live in a small enough town. We have not had that issue. Our shop is located right downtown Coeur d'Alene, and so as soon as the weather is nice, our musicians are actually on the street playing music, and we're always mindful. I have restaurants on both sides of me, and I always tell my musicians that the people who are sitting outside at a restaurant or cafe did not necessarily pay to listen to my music. And so we're always considerate of volume and keeping it, contained to, entertaining our customers. But in the same regards, we've had 20 people at 9 o'clock at night standing on the street outside listening to our musician. It's almost like having a small concert. And a musician cost us for 3 hours. A local musician cost us about $150. And when we look at what we make on, what our sales are on an event night like that, we don't do it for the private shopping event nights. We mostly do it for our art walk nights and our bigger kind of wine walk, community sponsored events where they're selling 1,000 tickets. And so for us to invest, $150 or $200 on live music, it really draws people in.
To answer your initial question, Patrick, what happens with a live music situation when you're doing it all the time, it's much more likely to happen to a restaurant than it is to an independent store, because the people from ASCAP, there's 3 different organizations. ASCAP's one, and I've forgotten the name of the other 2. But once they find that you've got a band in there playing any kind of cover or doing anything, walking in there holding a guitar he's going to take a lesson on later. Well, okay, that's an exaggeration. Then you have to join them. So we had to put into our budget for the restaurant that we are now paying ASCAP fees. 2 of the 3 have found us, and I'm sure the 3rd will see this thing, and that'll be that. But you just have to pay it. Mm-hmm. And it's a fair thing to make sure the musicians are being paid for their work. We don't really, you never know where the money we paid goes exactly. But yeah, we got nailed.
Okay.
All right, there we go. So great question. Yeah, thank you. Another one that's come in, would you speak to the type of events that you might suggest for small shops, say around 500 square feet? They've done holiday open house, which is more of an in and out event as opposed to after hours and easier in a small space.
Beth?
I think that we have several small dress shops and boutiques in town who will do kind of a sip and shop and do something where they're not looking to bring in a huge crowd because they don't have a huge amount of space. And they turn their music up. They don't bother with live music. You have to have the geography in your store in order to do live music, especially in the wintertime when they can't be outside, and that's a conundrum. So I think something as simple as a sip and shop allows you to find a place not on the sales counter where you can put that bottle of wine, and it keeps it simple. And you can bring in 15 or 20 people and make it worthwhile.
You can also target in a smaller store. I recommend using your point of sale system and really look at who your top customers are, and have an event is for not just somebody who wants a free glass of cheap wine, but somebody who wants to come in and have some special time. It's a great time to do something with a little bit of a theme. Plan your fall wardrobe with fashionista, somebody, bring in those top 20 customers. They will get going with each other. They'll have a good time. And target who you're inviting. Don't invite the whole world if you don't have room for them.
Yeah. It makes them feel really special, especially if you have the analytics and can be able to draw on that.
We do a lot of events that are targeted by vendor, by dollar amount, by whatever we can think of that day, but it makes a huge, huge difference to be able to slice and dice your database.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make them feel special, cater something towards that top group. Yeah. As we kind of close out today, any secret tips or any secrets that you have for planning events within your store?
When in doubt, try it. What's the worst that could happen? It's a flop. Who cares? Try it in your driveway. Try it in front of your store. Try it for a few people. do it elsewhere too. We've had good success with events off-site where we present a topic like how to pack and or what to buy for Christmas for the kids at different facilities for a ladies group, a women's group. There's a lot of opportunities there, and that's a great way to introduce your store to a lot of new people if you're comfortable being a public speaker.
Mm-hmm. And our hospitality host program has been very successful. They pay us, $200 and to be able to be there. We bring in the champagne. We do a little champagne cocktail. It's a lot of times it's a real estate agent. They pour, so I don't have to have an associate. I'm not paying an associate to pour champagne. They've paid for the champagne and in trade for the opportunity to really interact with our customers. And again, that's usually at a downtown or community sponsored event. But it's proven to be when a small business retailer looks at it and says, well, I don't know if I want to spend the money on, I want to have the event and I might be doing a discount and that's going to cost me money. So do I really want to have one more expense? And it's a way to partner with your community and get the benefit without having the expense.
Just by the way, we never offer a discount at these things, ever. Mm-hmm. We often will give 10% of our sales and all of the tip money and whatever else to a specific charity, mm-hmm. hoping the charity will bring more people in, but we are not a discount-oriented store. So mm-hmm. our whole thing is about having the party. In many communities, you'll run into trouble serving food or anything else. We got busted for serving coffee, popcorn, and warm cookies, because the number of food illnesses transported on popcorn. So we, in our main store, we're unable to have that kind of hospitality. Although we do have a liquor license over here, it's very peculiar. But if you can't serve wine or you're afraid you'll get in trouble, tea is great. And if you're sampling, if you sell tea for tea, talk mm-hmm. to them about getting a sample so that you can sample something that you're selling, which mm-hmm. can also get kind of pricey if you're selling expensive candy. But look at what you can offer. And frankly, you don't have to offer food. It's nice, mm-hmm. but think about the logistics of it and think about how much of a mess you're going to have. No to the chili dogs. Be very careful that whatever you do is not going to destroy your store. Yeah. I've destroyed the store, so I know.
No to chili dogs. It's a personal, good lesson as well, too.
Exactly.
So.
And Mary Liz, I think you make a great point about the discount. We started with some of our events doing a special discount for the evening, and we have come full circle. And now we partner with organizations and group, and we ask them which nonprofit they would like us to donate to. And everybody comes in and we take a percentage that evening. And instead of doing a discount, we give it in their name to a charity.
And we're very careful. If your charity would like to be one of the charities that we help, we have to know that when we have your event, you're going to bring a certain number of people to it. The worst is when you say yes to the high school band, that you can let them have a fundraiser, and they bring a bunch of junior high and high school children with instruments that they cannot actually play, which they are playing while they're running around your store. P.S. Nobody is shopping and your real customers leave. That would have been possibly the nadir of our event, and the mother's screaming, Joey, stop it. It was our worst event ever. But we expect a buy-in from the charity. Can you get us 50 or 60 people here? Otherwise, it's not worth your time or our time. Mm-hmm. And watch out for the band.
Watch out for the band.
We've had dogs and cats with the Humane Society. But that one was actually everybody loved that one.
We've done a lot of those. We did a fashion show and dog adoption. Every third or fourth lady was walking a dog. You could buy the dress or adopt the dog. It was fun.
We all wish we had as much space as you do, but none of us want your bills.
I know, it's a problem.
Excellent. Thank you both so much for being here today. We'll go ahead and take a couple other questions. If there are some from the crowd, I've tried to answer the ones that have come in through the chat and through the Q&A. But if there are any other questions, we'll make sure to answer those.
And if any of you wake up in the middle of the night with some burning question, you're welcome to email me, and I'm sure Beth would be happy to respond. We'd be glad to tell you anything we can.
Yeah. Do you want to provide some contact information where they could reach you?
Well, mine's ML, as in Mary Liz, at leonandlulu.com.
Perfect.
And I'm just Beth at mixituphome.com.
Excellent. Question did come in. Do you plan your social media, or is it more day by day?
Yes.
Yes.
To both of those, planned and day by day.
You know, we know we need to post the things for the events and whatever's serious things. But then if somebody comes in wearing cute shoes, or we have some stupid joke we want to tell, we whack that at it, because it's really easy to let your social media get too business heavy and fun light.
Right. Yeah, ours is planned out. Again, we just we just hired a marketing company that's handling our social media for us, but we're involved with it as well. And so I'm the one that's posting stories from, market, or posting stories, at an event, with the music and different things like that. And so we do a little bit of both, but it's definitely planned out. I left a photo shoot in the store this morning, and I was reminding I have, our marketing company has a list of the top 10 revenue producing items that we sell. And so it's classic that they walk through the store and they find something that they love. And I go, okay, I have 2 of those and I haven't sold one in 6 months. So put that down and let's feature something else.
Another question that's come in. Do you run digital ads to help spread the word to new customers about the events? And how do you structure that budget?
We don't.
We do not. We've tried, we've experimented and never found the right way through all of that. We've talked to lots of different companies who are going to answer all of our questions, and we didn't feel that we were getting good answers early on. So we don't buy any mailing lists. We don't really advertise. We'll boost a post occasionally. Mm-hmm. But what we do like to do is, if we do the artist market, we give a forwardable email to each of the artists, asking that they send that email to all of their friends. Books and authors people, that creeps really far. And then any charity, when you're inviting your ladies, please invite them, please remind them, and men, gentlemen can come too, but invite them, remind them, and be sure that you have all of our store information about the event. And we're really tight, not always successfully, about looking at what the charities are sending out to promote something in our store.
We do.
There could be some real ugly surprises.
Yeah. I wish I had one with me. They handed me one this morning and I didn't bring it. We do a 3x5 card that is printed front and back. And for example, we do Art Walk the second Friday of every month. And when you come to Art Walk in March, that day we will start handing to every customer and putting in every bag the promo card that features the artist who is coming in April. So we are a month ahead. That card is printed. The front of the card has a piece of art, and a picture of the artist, who the live music is, who the hospitality host. On the back of the card, it's simply the store, our Instagram, our Facebook, our website, all of that information. So we print based on the size of our store. We print 400 or 500 a month, and we pop them in every bag and use it as an opportunity to talk about the next event. And they might cost me $50 a month to have them printed. We've got a great local printer, and we just have a template, and we slide in the new images. And because, again, coming back to where we started with this conversation, because we have our events calendar put together for the entire year, it's easy to have that lined up so that you already have the photo of the artist and you have a picture of their artwork, and you know who the hospitality host is, and you just plug that in and send it to the printer. It gets delivered the Monday before that Friday event, and we're always promoting the next event.
Wonderful. And having that all planned out and knowing what you want to do makes that so much easier, and really getting that planned out as early as possible. So
we have jumped through the proverbial hoop, and it's no fun.
Speaking of planning out, how's that baby coming?
We're about a month out, so we're getting planned ourselves. So
okay, well, we're going to put that on our calendars, I think.
All right, deal. It has to go on mine. So it looks like we've answered all of our questions. So thank you all very much, Beth and Mary Liz. Thank you for being here. Attendees, thank you for attending today. Just a quick plug for our next webinar. So the next Main Street Matters webinar is scheduled for March 22nd at 1 p.m. Central. We're going to try and do them every fourth Wednesday of the month, so you can kind of keep that consistent. Joining us will be founder of Crystal Media, Crystal Velkaitis, and she'll be talking to us about social media strategies that drive foot traffic. So very excited for that. Follow us on social media, Heart on Main Street. You can find us really at Heart on Main Street on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever you want to find us, you'll be able to find us there. So thank you all very much and have a wonderful day.